We start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We continue our study of Prashna Upanishad, the 6th chapter, the 3rd verse. Any study of Bhashyam generally involves a debate. So in this case, there is a long debate of Shankaracharya with the Purusha, which is primarily a school which existed during Shankaracharya's time. That school of philosophy is called as Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika is a philosopher who is a Dvaita philosopher. According to him, the truth is Dvaita. Shankaracharya's truth is Advaita. So between the two, we are seeing the debate in this particular mantra, which runs into almost 150 slides. It's a very, very long debate, but when you go towards the end, you will understand the gist of it, which is very simple. So with this small background, I will go into the section where we stopped last time. The topic number 248, we are in this particular topic. This verse number 2 continues till the 261 topic. So we have about 13 topics to go, 13 areas where Shankaracharya comments, and we will see one by one how he takes it. I won't go through the full details of the debate. For those who are interested in the debate portion, you can go through the notes. You will find it a little bit more easier if you go through the notes, because it's a very systematically written notes. I will give you the highlights so that when you study the notes, it is easy. Now here, there is a rule which Shankaracharya talks about. You can talk about existence of something only if you know some about that particular thing. You can't talk about existence of an unknown thing. For example, sky flowers. You cannot say it exists or it doesn't exist. You can say it is, I don't see it, therefore it is not existing. But you should know the sky flowers. Otherwise, without knowing about flowers, you cannot talk about existence also. So minimum you should know that it is existent. For example, Himalayas, it is existent. Suppose you talk about America, it is existent. India is existent. You know. So knownness is a condition required for existence of anything in the creation. Astitvam presupposes Nyayatvam. Nyayatvam means knownness. And only if something is known, you can verbally talk about it. So in Vyavahara, a transaction requires knownness. There are two types of transactions. One is Jnana Vyavahara, which is intellectual transactions. Your mind gets involved in it. The second, that is, all the Jnana Indriyas get involved in it. That is called as Jnana Vyavahara. Karma Vyavahara means your organs of actions are involved. And in both this, Astitvam requires Nyayatvam. Astitvam means existence. It requires knownness. Then only it is fit for transactions. Now the debate is, Nyayatvam, does it exist or it doesn't exist? That is what is the question which is being raised here. Does Jnanam have the status of Nyayam or not? For example, can we say consciousness is known or consciousness is unknown? There are differences of opinion in this regard. Vaisheshika says, since Jnanam also is a Vyavahara Vishayam, therefore it is known. Consciousness is a known, it's a known subject. Consciousness has Jnanam Jnayam status. Advaitin asks the question, if consciousness is known, it will be known by whom? That is the question Shankaracharya asks. There are three possibilities. Jnana means consciousness is known by Jnayam. That means the object. That is one possibility. The second possibility is Jnanam is known by Jnanam itself. The third possibility is Swajnayam Jnanam. Or Jnanam, the second possibility is Jnana, another Jnanam knows Jnana. That means conscious number 2 knows conscious number 1. Conscious number 3 knows conscious number 2. That is what is the second one. The third one is Jnanam knows itself. Now, in Upadesha Sastri, Jnanam knows itself by itself. That is what is said in Upadesha Sastri by Shankaracharya. Self-knowing nature of Jnanam is stand of Vaisheshika here. What is Shankaracharya saying here? He says is Jnanam does not come under Jnayam category at all. Jnanam is always Jnanam, it is never Jnayam. Consciousness is always never an object of another consciousness, or it is an object of itself. See how deep these discussions go, only to show that we have to go very deep in our mind. See what happens in these debates is Jnanam, Jnayam, all these things are all related to the mind. Now, the mind has to traverse towards Atma. By doing these type of analysis, what happens is you get a final picture of that Atma. So, many people will ask the question, why should I study these type of debates? It helps us because these are all things which have been done during Shankaracharya's time. So when we also study these debates, our mind gets used to thinking the right way to think about ourselves. Because consciousness is what Upanishad says, that is what you are. How to understand that consciousness correctly is by way of through these. So Vaisheshika says Jnanam has Jnayam status. Dvaitin says Jnanam does not have Jnayam status. Jnayam is objective status. Vaisheshika says it has objective status. And it says Jnayam is by itself. Anandagiri is another commentator who talks about this verse. He says if Jnanam does not become Jnayam, does it become Vyavahara Yogyam then? Knownness is a condition for existence. If jnanam does not have knownness, how does it become vyavahara yogya? That means how does it operate in transactions? Very beautiful analysis Shankaracharya says, anatma requires niyatvam as a condition for stitvam and vyavahara. Try to understand. It's a very beautiful analysis of Shankaracharya. Anatma means all jada prapancha. They will require an knownness. They will require niyatvam as a condition for existence. But in the case of Atma, jnanam is its own swarupa. See, this is the difference between anatma and atma. Atma is swayam jyotis prakashaha. It is self-knowing. It is self-existent, illumined item in creation. There is nothing which is self-luminous. That is why in Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, there is a mantra there. You must remember that mantra. Which mantra is it? Natatra suryo bhati chandratakam. So when we remember that in that mantra, what does it say? Consciousness shines first. And it is eternally shining. So the process of knowingness or consciousness is eternal. What about the body, mind, world? The process is not eternal. It is depends on the operation of the mind and the sense organs. So we don't need to prove our existence any time. What is our experience in life? I am always existed. I am always existed. I am. That I am is pure existence. It never leaves us. That is our real nature. That is what Upanishad wants to reveal to us. Drop your identification as the body, as the mind, as the thoughts, as the sense organs, as the world, and keep a focus on I know myself, pure existent consciousness. This is what was revealed in Keno Upanishad, Pratibodha Viditam Matam, Mritatvam hi lindate, Atmana vindate vidyam, Vidyaya vindate mritam. Very important mantra of Keno Upanishad. Like we have in Taittiriya, one or two Upanishad mantras. Keno Upanishad, the main mantra is this. Pratibodha. Pratibodha means what? Before the knowledge of anything arises, consciousness is always there. This jnanam is swayam siddhaha, swayam prakashaha. Swayam siddhaha means what? It is self-existent. That is the nature of our pure self. It does not need to be born. Body needs to be born. But our pure nature is always existent. It is immortal. And it is Prakasha Sarupa. Consciousness is its nature. It is always illuminating either the presence of the world, body, mind, and the world, the absence of body, mind, and the world. In the waking state, it illumines the presence of the world. In the sleep state, it reveals to us the absence of the world. So the world may have two conditions, manifest and unmanifest, but consciousness always is. So jnana does not have neyatvam. Neyatvam means it never has an objective status, world, body, mind, thoughts, sense perceptions, they all have got objective status. So Vaisheshika then says, I accept Nyayam status of Jnana in Sushupti also. In Jagrat also, Jagrat means in waking also state. World is Nyayam, Jnanam is also Nyayam. In Sushupti also, world is not there, Jnanam is there. See, the problem is he does not understand the vritti jnanam. That is where he makes a mistake. And he continues the mistake till the end of this entire debate, till Shankaracharya tells him that you are always looking at vritti jnanam, you should look at swarupa jnanam. What he will say in the end. In Lalita Sahasranamam, there is also this mantra number 89, which says that this Shiva is aprameya. Prameya means it is never an object. It is never an object. It is never an object of something else. This consciousness, it is Swayam Prakasha. It is always self-illumined and it is always beyond the reach of speech and walk. This is just a quotation, just to Shankaracharya gives it here. He says, okay, this is one of the areas which talks about the same subject matter. So in this is the end of the 248 talk. Now the next topic, Shankaracharya has applied to Vaisheshika. He says what Vaisheshika says about Nyaya, that consciousness is an objective, has an objective status, it's income. And then he expands on this. Nyayam can never be jnanam. This is again the same thing which Shankaracharya repeats to him. Bhava is a known thing. Abhava means what? Absence. Absence is known. Abhava jnanam is knowledge of absence. Are they the same or are they different? This is the topic here in this particular portion. Abhava means, suppose for example, in the sleep state, world is not there. That is our experience. So Nyayam is absent. Knowledge of that Nyayam, is it different than the jnana? Knowledge of absence is different from the known absence. Body, mind, sense organs, world are Nyaya Swarup because they are all inert by nature. They are jada. They belong to 5 elements. Therefore, they have an objective status. See, this point you try to understand. Any inert object, including the body, has the Nyayam status. Consciousness doesn't have the Nyayam status. Consciousness is self-illumined. Therefore, it doesn't have Nyayam status. So, Nyayam can't be made into Jnana. This is what Shankaracharya is trying to drive at. What Purva Pakshi is saying is, Nyayam and Jnanam, he makes it equivalent. Whereas Shankaracharya says, it is not possible. Then in the next Bashyam, number 250. He says, Advaitin, you will have a problem. You have to accept Jnanam is name by itself. If you don't accept, what will be the problem? This is Puro Vakshi talk. See, we are just continuing this discussion from 250 to 261. There are 11 portions of this debate pending. In each of these portions, the Purvapakshi comes, he comes and gives an example. He'll give two, three examples now in the future. In the next few topics, he'll give examples. Then Shankaracharya will refute it. So that is what we are studying. It's a long debate. It is not a short debate because he keeps on coming back with his own wrong ideas. Now, in this 250, what is he saying? He's visualizing a problem. Because why is he visualizing? Because the main problem with the Purvapakshi is that he doesn't know that Atma is Swaprakasham. See, we also, in our understanding, make this mistake. And we also try in our meditation, in our understanding of Upanishad, we also make this mistake. That is why this debate is good for us, because it will help us not to make these type of mistakes of objectifying consciousness. Jnanam is known by Neyam because Neyam is Jara. That is correct. Jnanam cannot be known by itself. Jnanam is known by another Jnanam, is Purvapakshi. So he says, if Jnanam, see, because he doesn't know that Jnanam means consciousness is Swayam Prakasham, he says he thinks that one consciousness has to be known by a second consciousness. So he tells Shankaracharya that you will have a Navasta dosha. Navasta dosha means what? It is a dosha, a defect which keeps on repeating, continuously repeating. One consciousness will know the second consciousness. This is the mistake of Shanika Vijnanavadis. Okay? So, this is a point in topic number 250. Now, Shankaracharya answers in 250. See, these are all the ways of how the debate goes. He raises a point, and then Shankaracharya. Now, if you say Jnanam is known by another Jnanam, then the first Jnanam will become Jnana. All other objects will become Chetana Jnana. Chetana means what? Insentient. So basically what he says is, inert known objects are the prapancha. Sentient known objects are Jnanam number 1. The knower of those sentient objects is Jnanam number 2. Jnanam, Jnayam can be sentient or insentient, and there can be a knower of this objective world, which is sentient or insentient. Jnana can never become Jnayam for another Jnana. It can become Jnayam only with reference to the objective. Now, he gives an example. He says, suppose there are two lamps. Can we say, suppose there is lamp number 1, lamp number 2, and objects in a row. Suppose there is lamp number 1, we can say that lamp number 1 is illuminating the objects. That is a correct statement. But can we say that lamp number 1 is illuminating lamp number 2? We cannot say. Because lamp number 2 is also self-illuminating. It doesn't require the illumination of lamp number. So in this way, Shankaracharya refutes Vaisheshika, who brings in this topic of anavastha dosha. That means you will have a problem of one consciousness knowing another consciousness continuously in your matam. So, what are the things which are ruled out now? Jnanam is illuminated by Jnana. You can never an object, inert object, illumining consciousness. You can't have another consciousness illumining the first consciousness. And Jnanam by itself, illumining itself, that is also ruled out because the nature of Jnanam is what? It is Swayam Prakash. That is, see, this aspect of Swayam Prakasham is what is the central thing we should remember in this entire debate of 11, 12 topics which we are discussing. Now, in the sleep state, what happens? In sleep state, the self-awareness which we have, it goes into unmanifest. See, normally what we think, self-awareness means what? I am. In the waking state, we are saying. Now, this I am in the waking state, what happens in the sleep state? It goes to unmanifest condition. In the waking and dream, I am is there. Operationally, I am. The individuality is there. In the waking and dream. But in the sleep state, Shankaracharya says, this I am is in a unmanifest condition, but consciousness is making you aware of that condition. So, Swayam Prakasha is Swata Siddha. These are all very loaded words for Advaita. So, with two words, Shankaracharya refutes all schools of philosophies. Even in Brahma Sutra, every time our Advaitic teaching is ultimately consciousness, I am, is self-existent, self-illumined consciousness. So with these two words, he keeps on refuting all. That's what we said here. Vedantic Upanishad, Shankaracharya quotes here, what is it which is within all? And that is nothing but consciousness. Consciousness is the antaryami for the entire universe. Okay. All right. Now, this portion of the slides is about the revision. If I have not taken something, I will explain to you. Otherwise, we'll go forward with the next topic. Atma is Sat Rupaha, Chit Rupaha, Ananda Rupa. Here, what we are discussing is the Chit Rupa. Atma is Chit Rupaha, universe is Jada Rupa. This Chit Rupa is never changing. It remains uniform throughout. The question what this Puru Bakshi has been asking is, in the sleep state, we don't experience neither the object or the subject. Is there consciousness there or not? That is a big question. That is the topic we are discussing. And that is why we are asking the question, is consciousness an object known or it is unknown? That is what we are discussing. And we have discussed the Vaisheshika, who is a type of a Buddhist, and Advaita, which we have seen so far. Okay. So, Jnanam is equal to Jnayam is not correct. If consciousness is known, it is to be known by either itself or another or by a jada vastu. Shankaracharya says it can't be known, it can't be a knower, known, it can never be the same. Known and knower, this is a standard rule. Subject can never be object. Consciousness is the subject. It can never be the object. Object can never be the subject because object is inert. So consciousness can't be known by itself also. Consciousness is because its nature is Swayam Prakash. You see, they're trying to make a subtle difference between why what we say is it is known or unknown is a matter of where the vrittis come into. See, whenever the mind is present, we call it as then the objects become known. Suppose there are no vrittis, then we say it is not known. Okay. Okay, this portion, jnana number 1 and 2, we have seen. Uh, so there are only two categories in Advaita. One is called as jnanam, the knower, consciousness, and the second is jnayam, the know. We don't accept a third category. Okay. Then in 252, Purusha raises a new question. What is the question? Suppose jnanam can't be known by itself also. That means jnanam is not known by another jnanam. Jnanam is not known by itself. And jnanam can't be known by name. Okay. Then he says, in Advaita, you say that consciousness is sarvajnam. Sarvajna means all knowing. How can you say this? See in the last portion here. Here he says, in Advaita Mata, Jnanam can't be Sarvajnam. In my Matam, Jnanam is Sarvajnam. This is Puravashi. Jnanam knows everything else and itself also. Because he says that Jnanam knows itself. In your Matam, Jnanam cannot be omniscient. In my Matam, it can be omniscient. How to know the unknown? How to know this? How to know this? How the Shankaracharya replies this? He says, this problem is mainly for you, it is not for me. Anandagiri, another commentator, he gives an answer. He gives this answer. He says, rabbit swan, not a noble. A rabbit swan means what? Rabbits don't have horns at all in all the three periods of time. So it is non-exist. So absence of rabbit swan, it can be known. Rabbit horn, it can't know. It can't know means what? In Advaita Matam, Jnanam does not become the noble category at all. It never gets a Jnayam status. Jnanam is consciousness, awareness, sarvajna only. In Upanishad, this mantra says, which I gave you earlier also, Natatra Suryo Bhati. So what is this mantra in Upanishad and Upanishad and Svetashvatara? This in three Upanishad, this mantra comes. The knowing status of consciousness is its swarupam, and it never leaves that swarup. So consciousness need not be objectified by anything else. Without requiring a process of knowing, consciousness is awareness. Aham, aham, aham. For this, suppose you close your eyes and say, aham. Without even saying aham, you know that you are there, you are existent. So without any process, this consciousness exists by itself. There is no anavastha dosha, which we have seen before. This is just a repetition of that. Vedanta's aim is not to reveal the Atma at all. What does it reveal? It only negates the misconception of Atma and the world. Consciousness is always self evident as I am. It is a subject in all the transactions. Right from the time you get up in the morning, it is consciousness is the subject. But after saying I am, they add so many things. And what Upanishads and Vedanta does is it makes you to drop everything else by the process of neti, not this, not this, not this. It is not the thoughts, it is not the objects, it is not the sense organs, it is not the intellect. Keep on going inside and inside. Ultimately, where do you arrive? You arrive at nirguna Chaitanya. So the idea is tatvamasi. When the teacher tells us you are that, what is the student supposed to do? The student is supposed to drop all his identifications with the body or mind or the basic blunder of the other Purva Pakshis is they make consciousness also as an object of experience. They think that consciousness is also something as an it is like an object, like I see a chair, like a table. So similarly, they also try to see this consciousness and they make this blunder and therefore, they get into this infinite regress problem of one consciousness trying to know another consciousness and so on. The next topic of 253. Um, Again, this is this Shankaracharya says, I don't need a second jnana. See, many times Shankaracharya has to repeat the same argument which he has given to the Purva-Pakshis. In our matam, there is no regress infinitum problem. Because we are talking about Swayam Jyoti. Ishavasya Upanishad uh, has this mantra number 4. It says that before you can even objectify the air, the Panchabhutas, this consciousness is there. I am is there, and then you become aware of the world, aware of the space, aware of the objects in the world. Okay, Purva Pakshi comes with another argument, another different type of another different line of thought. What does he say here in this topic? He says jnana is not only in one body, but this jnanam is there in so many bodies. Consciousness is there in this body, consciousness is there in another body. Therefore, what? Jnana bahutvam is the anubhava pramana siddham. We are experiencing many consciousness in many sentient being. Each being is conscious. Therefore, what? Consciousness must be many. See, these are all the typical arguments of all the Purva Pakshis. You will get the same type of arguments in different Upanishads. Atma Bahutvam. This is a common mistake made by all other philosophers. And in every Upanishad, Shankaracharya's reasoning is the same. He says, I'll tell you the reasoning as we come. So, there seems to be a plurality of consciousness because there are plurality of human beings, each one being conscious about the body, about his thoughts. So this is what is the Purva in this particular topic. Now Shankaracharya explains, does this plurality come about? This is a standard Vedantic portion. Try to understand this. How you see this is a very central topic in Vedanta also. Do we experience plurality in the world? When we say consciousness is one, I'm sure most of you know the answers. Consciousness is one. Surya Prakasha is one. But reflecting mirrors are there. So one Surya Prakasha appears as many reflections in the world. As many mediums, as many intellects, the intellect is getting the reflection of consciousness. Each body has got an intellect. This is one type of answer. Pratibimba Vibhasa, reflection theory. The second theory is Vachedava. I have repeated this many times also. In the case of Pratibimba, you use a light, Surya Prakasha, and reflection. In the case of Chedavana, we use the space example. Space in a room and space outside, we talk as if the space is very different, plural. I have very less space in my room. You have a very big space. But what is the actual truth? In space, only all of us are existing. In consciousness, only all of us are existing. It is not multiple consciousness. It is one consciousness is present in all places, all the times, is the answer. Consciousness is there in every place, every time, in all the Purushas, in all the living beings. We're going to see this in meditation also today. Bhagavad Gita verse, we're going to do meditate. Ekam eva swarupa jnanam. So swarupa jnanam is only one. Because of the different in mediums of manifestations, bodies are different, minds are different. Therefore, the reflection of consciousness appears to be different. So all this is explaining the two methodologies of reflection and space. Mandukya Upanishad, there we study these three terms: experienceability, transactionability, utility. In the Vyavahara field, experienceability is there, transactability, utility is there for multiple consciousness in different bodies. What we say is bodies are many, but consciousness is one. Consciousness is everywhere the same. Okay? All right. Another revision portion. How did we start this? Entire verse number 2, we said this Shodashakala Purusha is there in this body also. The Purusha means consciousness. It is there in this very body. That is what the teacher had said to the student. All this debate started from there only. And then we said, what is the swarupam of this Purusha? It is Nityaha, it is Advitiyaha, Swatantra. I discussed these 3 points in the last session. Nitya Chaitanya means eternal consciousness. is the nature of consciousness. Advitiya consciousness means consciousness alone exists. The world is mithya. World comes and goes in consciousness. Swatantra means consciousness is independent of the world. If I own up this as consciousness as my nature, that is what is called as moksha. Consciousness does not depend or on the body or the function of the brain. This is one of the points which philosophers they make. Other philosophers they think that consciousness is a function when the mind of the mind. They make a mistake of the brain. So consciousness happens as a illuminating principle in the brain, which is wrong. Then it will become nitya. So, and Chaitanya is revealed Swayam Prakasha and Swata Siddha. We require thoughts to reveal matter. We don't require thought to reveal consciousness. All matter. Try to understand this point. This is a very significant point. Whenever there is an object which is material object, suppose you're looking at a mountain, it's matter. Suppose you look at a table, it is matter. You're seeing another person, you're not seeing the consciousness. Consciousness is only one. You're seeing the body, the color of the body, the shape of the body. That body, shape, and everything is matter. All our experiences in the world is experience of matter. While we're experiencing matter, we need the medium of thought. We need the medium of mind. But for consciousness, which is self-existent, you don't require a mind. That is why we say in the sleep state of the nature of pure consciousness. See how beautifully Shankaracharya brings about all this, because these are the ways in which we have to understand and reach that consciousness. By simply studying one mantra here and there, you will not be able to go so deep. And only when you go into such depth, that understanding of our nature, we can abide in it. Otherwise, it is just you listen to it and then it disappears. You see it disappears. But in this type of reasoning oriented teaching, number one, the consciousness, our Swarupam becomes much and more clear. Number two, you are able to abide in it and live your life. So ultimately, what Shankaracharya wants to bring about in all these discussions, he wants to bring out in the following conclusion. The conclusion is Chaitanyam is ekam, it is advitiyam, it is nityam, swatantram. Sankhya, Yoga, and philosophers, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, they all talk about many eternal, all-pervading consciousnesses. We experience seeming plurality, but not factual plurality. Factually, there is no plurality, is Advaita. We don't negate the experience of plurality. We say, yes, we experience so many beings. But ultimately, what is the substratum of this whole universe? It is one Chaitanya. And for that, we have seen the example of Surya, the light of the sun, and the space. There is no question of one consciousness revealing another consciousness that also doesn't exist. And Asmin Sharire Saha Purushaha, that Shodashakala Purushaha is residing in this body itself. That is the right understanding of verse number 2. Okay, now the Purva Pakshi comes back again. 254th topic. Purusha is in this body only. Upanishad is confining the Purusha to the physical body. Confined Purusha cannot be Nityam, Advitiyam, and Swatantra. See, look out how the Purva Pakshi argues. You see, the mantra clearly says that Purusha is there in this body. If it is in the body, is it limited or unlimited? It should be limited only. So he is catching Shankara like this. He says, can it be Nityam? Because body is not Nityam. That is what how the other people also argue. The scientists they think that consciousness is it is something which is to do with the brain. It is consciousness is a signal coming in the brain. It is a function of the brain according to some scientists and doctors. Therefore, at the end of the death, when the body dies, the consciousness dies. That's all. That is their end. That is how they conclude. Because they think that consciousness is confined to the body. This is the same mistake this is Purva Pakshi is making. We'll see how Shankaracharya answers this. It's a very simple way he answers. See, Shankaracharya's style of is very, very simple. So this portion is talking about the Purva Pakshi's view. There will be many consciousness because in every body there is one consciousness. Confinement conveys what? Plurality. Confinement confirms what? Limitation only. How can you say that consciousness is Nityam and Advitiyam and Swatantram? Our experience, go by our anubhava. So this what Purva Pakshi is saying is Purusha is parichinna, confined, limited. Now he starts giving examples. He gives 3 examples, but it comes in long debate. One by one, he starts giving one by one 3 examples. He gives in 3 different topics. The first example he says is now the, the debate is going towards what is the relationship between consciousness and the body, consciousness and the world. Is it what type of relationship is there? That is what Shankaracharya will bring about at the end of these discussions. So, so basically in this portion, what is the Shankara, what is the Purva Pakshi saying? Purusha is saying the body, the consciousness is there in this, Purusha is there in this body. Therefore, it is limited. Body is limited, therefore consciousness is limited. Very simple. As for our anubhava is. So 255 topic. What does Shankaracharya says? He says, Upanishad statement creates such a feeling, I agree with you. Atma is inside the body. Atma is the inner self, which is called as Pratyagana. Pratyag means inner. So when we have to understand Atma as the inner content of the body. It creates a notion that Atma is a finite entity. Therefore, there is a possibility to make a mistake. So, when you try to study these Upanishads on your own, what will you understand from the statement of the Upanishad as per in this particular verse number 2? Atma is inside the body. Therefore, what will you conclude? Atma is limited, which is all of us make this mistake. One. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, study this under a guru. Don't just read Upanishad on your own. Blind faith is not allowed in Vedanta. You have faith, but then interpret the mantra correctly. That is why we have three steps in Vedanta: Shrotravyaha, Mantavyaha, Nidhityasitavyaha. All to be done with the help of a guru, not independent thinking. Independent thinking, you will never understand what is Atma. So in Purusha is inside the body, yasmin etaha shodashakara prabhavanti. No. What Shankaracharya says is, you take the statement which was made by in verse number 1 from this Shodashakara, from this Purusha, the whole Shodashakalas means the universe has originated. In this Purusha, which is inside, no doubt, but from this Purusha, the entire creation is done. So when you study this portion of the Upanishad, you cannot say it is finite in the body. There is some other interpretation which you don't know. In this sixth chapter, we are going to see what is this Shodasha Kala. That is a very simple portion which will come in verse number 4, which I put here. So Shankaracharya's opinion here is consciousness is the origin of Panchabhutas itself. So it can never be confined to the physical body. Like we say that in space everything comes, we have to conclude that consciousness is there not only in this body, it is there everywhere in the universe. Like space is located in the hall. That is a mistake we make. Similarly, we make a mistake, consciousness is located in the body. Space availability is indicated when we say space is there in the room. Similarly, consciousness availability is there in the body. It does not mean it is limited to this body. It is available in the body. It is also available everywhere. It is available in all the bodies. Kshetrajnam chati mam vitti sarva kshetreshu har. Third verse of the 13th chapter, today's meditation. So that consciousness is everywhere. It is also there in the body. That is how you interpret this. Purusha is everywhere, but to recognize that Purusha, I have to come to this body because that Chaitanyam I can know only when I look inside this body. Chaitanya means consciousness aspect. Existence aspect you can see everywhere. But consciousness aspect, you can know only in the body. That is why the Upanishad says that look into this body and see that awareness principle in this body is your real nature. See, scientists, they don't accept this. They say that consciousness produced by one brain can't be the cause of universe because they restrict consciousness to one brain. This is where the mistake of science is. Consciousness is produced in the body, sustained by the body. It perishes with the body when the body perishes. This is the concept of science today. That consciousness can't be the cause of universe. See, even we will have a doubt like this. Is it really possible that there exists a consciousness which is revealed by the Upanishads, in which the universe comes and goes? Or is it the consciousness which is there in the brain, part of the body, and that consciousness perishes along with the body? Two diametrically different views. We have faith in the Upanishads, therefore we accept Upanishadic view. For Advaitin, Shastra is the primary pramana. For science, Pratyaksha is a primary pramana. They must see things. Then only then only it will be taken as a reasoning for the scientists. But for us, consciousness is not a Paurusheya Vishaya, it is a Paurusheya Vishaya. Universe is too big, consciousness is too small if it is confined to the body. Consciousness cannot be the cause of the entire universe if it is confined to the body. One reason, first reason. Second reason is what? Body is a product of consciousness. All the world is a product of consciousness. Conscious world is karyam, body is karyam, consciousness karanam. These are the ways in which Shankaracharya takes Shruti as the primary pramanam and argues with the Purusha. Then the next, he gives this example of 16 kalas which are born out of this consciousness. In Tattva Bodha also, what do we learn? That which is made up of 5 great elements, which undergoes the process of Panchikaranam because of the result of good and bad karmas, that is all this body, the gross body is. Go back to Stula Shariram. What is the definition of Stula Shariram? Stula Prapancha in the Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha says it is a karyam. World is a karyam. But through consciousness only, this world comes about, the Panchabhutas come about, from Panchabhutas, the body comes. Okay? Consciousness produces the kalas produce the body. Kalas means what? The Panchabhutas. Consciousness is like the father, the kala is like the son. Kala means the Panchabhutas. Body is like the grandchild of consciousness. So body is born out of the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas are born out of consciousness. That is the way Shankaracharya describes. There is no direct cause-effect relationship between the body, which is like a pot, and Purusha. Not the direct, it is indirect. Okay, next one is 256 mantra. He says, I don't agree with you. He brings in the concept of grandchild and child that confuses this entire portion of debate. He brings in the topic of seed and tree, and he says he also brings in the topic of the seed. Okay, if you take the first seed, from a seed, tree is born. From the tree, again, a fruit is born. This is his style of argument. Shankaracharya doesn't accept this example itself. He says your example is wrong. In the end, he will say that. So that's why I don't want to go too much deeper into this example in this particular portion. In the 257th topic, you see, this is where Shankaracharya refutes the seed and tree example. And his main, what he mainly says is that you're talking of two different seeds here. You're not talking of the first seed from which the tree was born. The tree gave birth to another fruit. The fruit has got the seed. The seed number one and the seed number two are different. Very intelligent way of answering a Puro worksheet. Uh, that is one portion of debate which comes in here. Sakshi Chaitanyam is not confined to the body. It is Sakshi Chaitanyam is all pervading principle. Okay. Uh, okay, this is the revision portion, and we have covered most of it. The topic of jnanam. In jnanam, knowledge, there are two types. One is vritti jnanam. I have explained before, but I will again go to that because it's an important aspect of Advaita. And this aspect has been so beautifully in Aitareya Upanishad Bhashya. Vritti jnanam is objective jnanam, objective world jnanam. Swarupa jnanam is sakshi jnanam. And that sakshi is nityam, it is swatantra. Don't forget this point because this is the central message in this entire 11 topics of debates which we are doing. So, Purva Pakshi's main debate is this Purusha located in this body? What Shankaracharya says is Purusha is located in this body and soul. And the word so because consciousness is all pervading. Okay, that is what that is what is his analysis, Shankaracharya's analysis. The 16 kalas which makes the universe is a Purusha Karyam. It is an effect. It is born out of Karanam, which is Purusha. So, Kala Karanam means it is the 16 kalas are the effect. Purusha is the Karanam. It is the Karanam of the entire Panchabhutas. That's why it is called as Karanaka. Panchabhutas are the cause of this entire world, material world. But what is the cause of that Panchabhutas? It is this Purusha. Purusha existed long before the Shariram came into being. For example, in our sleep state, we are existing without the body, knowledge of the body, without the knowing the world. Yeah. So it is easy for us to accept the fact that this consciousness is always there with us. So Purusha is limitless, and the Shariram can't be the location for this. Okay, this seed portion I have discussed with you. Purusha in this body is the same causal Purusha, Saeva Purusha. That is what we have seen so far. The next topic, 257. Again, this is leading to the seed and the tree and that example. I will not go into the depth of this. Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says in the 9th chapter, I am everything in this universe. I am the mantra, I am the fire, the oblation, everything in this universe is me. That means what? This consciousness is the upadana karanam of the entire universe, not only today. Times, whenever you see the word, consciousness is the upadana karanam. I am in the form of Panchabhutas, which is the material cause at all the time. So Purusha can be in the form of an effect in all the sharirams. Like sunlight is one, but it can be in the form of reflections in many vessels of water. So this is like the sun can be in many vessels of water. Have got reflection, which is a karyam. Similarly, one Purusha can be there in this entire universe. One stem cell in biology evolves into different parts of the body. Isn't it the wonder of nature? See, Bhagavan's wonder, Bhuti, he can create the softest tongue and the hardest teeth also. Also, all are coming from where? Stem cell. So it had provision for different modifications. Different tissues came in, epithelial tissues, endodermal tissues, different types of tissues are there for body. So similarly, can't we take that there is one consciousness from where all this, if from one stem cell, the entire body can come about? Can't we say in the universe there is one consciousness like a stem cell, which out of which this entire creation has come? 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita talks about this Prakriti and Purusha. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Vubhavapi Vikaransha Gunan Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Very beautiful verse in the 13th chapter where it says the entire world which we experience is a modification of Prakriti. Can Prakriti exist by itself? No. Prakriti depends on the substratum called as Bhagavad Gita. See, the gist of Upanishad is there in Bhagavad Gita. If you understand Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita is just a walkover, very easy. That is why it will be good if you study Bhagavad Gita after a few Upanishads. You will find that it's so easy to understand this. Okay. Located, Adhara, their relationship is possible in the Vyavaharika world. In the Vyavahara, cause effect is directly seen. And Adhara means what? Substratum and Adheya. Adheya means which is what is located. It is possible, but it is not possible in the case of Chaitanyam. Because Chaitanyam happens to be a different order of reality. 16 kalas are there with parts. Akasha means space. In Vedanta, Akasha also has got very sukshma parts. Okay. Taittiriya Upanishad, what does it say? It says that Atma is born out of, Akasha is born out of space. Akasha is born out of Atma. So space, according to Tarka, is unborn. Whereas in Advaita, space is born from Atma. So Akasha is Nirvayavam in Tarka. Akasha is Savayavam in Vedanta. Savayavam means it is with parts. But we can't see the parts because it is very, very sukshma. Like body has limbs. See, in space also they talk about waviness in space and so on. Science talks about. So Vedanta also talks about sukshma, uh, sukshma parts in space. That is one point in the previous topic. In 258, a very normal discussion which we always have is space is located in the hall. Hall is the locus, space is located. But what do we use in expression of in our language? Small space is inside the room, but the understanding is what? In space, the world exists. In space, the hall exists. In space, the room exists. So similarly, when the Purusha is said to be in this body, Upanishad is using the language which we are used to. But what does the actual meaning of that sentence is? In Purusha, the body is located. So don't take the vachyartha of that sentence, you take the lakshyartha. Consciousness, don't make it a located entity in the body. Take the lakshyartha of that verse. Okay. Uh, okay. This is so there are three wrong examples. I told you earlier also that Purva Pakshi takes three wrong examples. One is the Badra fruit in the vessel for Adhara Adheya Bhava. Fruit is there in a vessel. That is one example. Bija and Palam. Seed and the fruit. Another example. Kasha is another example taken by the Purva Pakshi. Shankaracharya says all examples are wrong when you come to Chaitanyam and Shariram. When you come to Chaitanyam and Shariram, there are two orders of reality. Therefore, Dhara Adheya Sambandha is not possible in the case of consciousness and the world. Akasha and the world. The world exists in Akasha. So Akasha is the Adhara. Adhara means substrate. It is the base. World exists in the space. This is possible in Adhara is possible. Adhara Dheya Sambandha is there in the world. You cannot bring it to the level of consciousness. There are two, like waker and dreamer. What is the relationship between waker and dreamer? It is adhishthana. Consciousness is adhishtanam for the waker. Waker is the adhishtanam for the dreamer. That is the sambandha which we talk about in Advaita. The next topic is 259. So he drops all the Purva Bakshi now says, okay, I'll set aside all my examples. I won't take the example of Akasha or fruit or the other examples. Now, modern science, I have only explained to you this portion. See here in this particular topic, Shruti meaning, he says, why do you take an indirect meaning of the Purusha, and why can't you take a direct meaning? The meaning of the sentence here is that Atma is there in this body. You need to take that direct meaning. You are taking indirect meaning that it is also there in this body. What you take that is the Purva Pakshi's point in this 259th topic. So where Shankaracharya comes and says, you should not, if the direct meaning is not suitable, you should not take the direct meaning, you should reinterpret the Veda. Don't take the Veda by blind faith. Faith is accepted in Veda as a pramana, but uh, don't take it blindly, but try to accept it. Veda says that man is fire, woman is fire. Purushashva Gautama Agni. You can't cook on top of the head of man, no? So what you have to say is understand the man is fire means what? He's got the qualities of fire. So similarly, interpret this Veda correctly. Use logic. Okay, this is a good revision portion. I'll just go a little bit slower. So at the beginning of the words, there are two Purusha and Antisharire is there. Purusha is located inside the body. Purusha's definition is given as Nirgunam, Nitya, Advitiyam, Swatantra Chaitanya. The new interpretation, what we have so far discussed, is what? Purusha is not only in the body, it is also available in the body. It is available everywhere. Consciousness is everywhere. The Upanishad wants to say is, this consciousness, if you want to experience that consciousness, then you come to the body so that you can understand that awareness principle which is there in this. That is how Shankaracharya ends this discussion. He says Shastra can't contradict Pratyaksha Pramana. No Pramanam can contradict another Pramana. Veda can reveal a fact as a Pramanam, but can't contradict a fact. Jnana Indriyas, Jnapakam, can generate knowledge. Karma Indriyas, they produce actions. And what are the results of action? Bhakti, Utpatti, Vikara, Samskara. Samskara means purification. These are the results of karma. Vikara, any karma can bring about modification. Utpatti, it can produce something. You can reach by karma. Now, so what Shankaracharya wants to say is, don't accept the Veda Pramanam if it contradicts with the Pratyaksha. Okay. So the topic number 260 is the conclude. Two topics are there, 260 and 261, where Shankaracharya concludes this discussion. Purusha is available inside the body. It is also available outside. Why Upanishad specifically says it is inside the body, Antara Sharire? Because the Sat Rupam of Purusha is inside and outside. Sat Rupam means existence. Chit Rupam can be recognized only inside the body. I can't cognize consciousness in your body, but I can cognize consciousness in my body. I can recognize. How do I recognize consciousness in my body? Whenever the mind has got a thought or an emotion, the only way to understand is I am consciousness, aham brahmasmi, and this consciousness, I am able to recognize my emotions, my thoughts. That is the way I have to know this consciousness. As aham brahmasmi, the only way I can know is by claiming that consciousness as I am. Okay? Everything is there. Everything is Brahman. That is the truth. Because everything means what? It is the Sat principle. But Jiva Bhava can be knocked out only by Brahma Bhava. See, I am today suffering samsara because I feel I am a jiva. I am the uh, identified with my mind as myself. But how do I change this? It is only by saying Aham Brahmasmi. That is the only antidote for Jiva Bhava, which is Brahma. That is why most of the times I tell you, even if you don't accept or don't understand, just keep yourself Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Now this will replace the Jiva Bhava. When it replaces Jiva Bhava, what will happen? Slowly you will start understanding the nature of Atma as this consciousness, which is the content of the body. The space is the content of everything in the universe. Consciousness is the content of even space. That is that is the highest teaching of Vedanta. Whatever I cognize, my hearing, my seeing, my smelling, all that is happening because of what? It is because of Sakshi Chaitanya, which is behind the sense organs and which is Nitya Swarupa. You are hearing, you may hear a music today, you may hear something else tomorrow. But Sakshi, the Chaitanya, which is responsible for the hearing or the seeing or your touching or your smelling, does not change. Again, Natatra Suryo Bhati, and then Hiranmaya Koshe Pare Koshe, this is another mantra, explains the nature of this Chaitanyam, this Purusha in this body, which is the central theme for all the Upanishads. If this consciousness, which is reflected in the mind, leaves the body, every function of the body will leave. Therefore, what is the knowledge which we should have? All the functioning of the body is because of this ultimate Chaitanyam, which is in this Sharira. The last topic, 261, Shankaracharya says, Shraddha is very, very important if you want to learn Vedanta. Many problems can be sorted out if you have Shraddha in the Upanishads. So, ultimately, what is the meaning of this verse number 2? That Purusha in whom the 16 kalas are born, he is right here within this body also. All-pervading consciousness, all-pervading Purusha is there in this form. So we have taken quite a lot of time to understand the second verse, but I think it is important to go through these type of debates. I've taken it a fast pace, but a pace at which you can understand. Now, next week, I will start the third verse. This also, see, the entire balanced portion of Prashna Upanishad is a long commentary. This is the central portion of Prashna Upanishad, the 6th chapter, because it deals with the final teaching of Upanishads, which is Chaitanya. Okay, so I'll continue. The introduction to the third verse is this topic number 262. So next week, I will start with this topic. And uh, okay, so that's all for today's session on Prashna Upanishad. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are no questions in the chat box. In case you have any questions, you are free to raise your hand and ask the question.
Sigirji, I have one.
Yeah, Manikandan.
Actually, when we say that consciousness cannot be objectified, but all the objects, the reality of all the object is consciousness. So we every day we are objectifying our own body, our own mind. In that sense, we are objectifying the consciousness in some other way. That only thing we miss the knowledge that this objectification, the reality is mithya, and the consciousness is the satyam.
Yeah, correct. See, what we always objectify is name and form only. But the substratum for the name and form is consciousness. It's always whenever we drop the name and form. See, what is the word in Chandogya Upanishad? It says very clearly, world is nothing but it is name and form. But what is really there? For example, gold. You look at chain, ring, bangle, but then in your mind, what you say? Not, I'm not seeing three different things. I'm only seeing one goal. So similarly, when you look at the world and you look at all the objects, like you see so many people around, you see the whole world, always keep in mind only one thing. All this is nothing but one consciousness. It's one consciousness through the prism of mind. Like when one light through prism, it becomes all the seven colors. Similarly, one consciousness through the prism of the mind in the sense organs, it becomes the plurality of the universe. Consciousness is only one. That is the goal of all the Upanishads, is to reveal this consciousness as the ultimate nature of all of this. But it takes time because it requires a preparation of the mind. Mind is slowly understanding, gradual understanding of the mind takes place. Therefore, it takes time. But your line of thought is correct.
So in that case, we can start focusing on sometimes, for example, during the meditation, we can try to objectify the worldly things, and then as you mentioned, we can say that the reality is the consciousness. So
Correct.
it, it will help us to understand, because every time we are objectifying, very difficult to stay without objectification, because always our mind is objectifying something, any thoughts. We are with vrittis only.
Yes.
So
That is why the concept of Jagan Mithya comes in. See, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. That means I am Satyam, I am the consciousness, which is the illuminator of all experiences. Whatever is experienced is Mithya. It is false. It is not, it doesn't exist. It is false. But it takes a long time to understand the statement is that Jagat, the experienced world is mithya. It is experienced. You see, Advaitam, Shankaracharya says, I don't negate the experience of the world, but I negate the reality of the world. The world, you see, that is why yesterday's world, whatever I experienced today, it is not there. What I experienced 10 years ago, it is not there today. What I experienced today is not there tomorrow. That means what? The world of experience is just gone. Like I experienced a dream yesterday. Today it is not there. Today's waking is not there tomorrow. Tomorrow's waking is not there day after tomorrow. So the world we are experiencing is unreal world, whereas I am the reality. I, the experiencer, who can never negate. That is the ultimate teaching. Aham Brahma Asmi means what? I am the only reality in this universe. It is a high level of understanding. It is not at the normal vyavahara. See, vyavahara means it is Dvaitam. But understanding is what? I am Advaitam. Vyavahara, which is Dvaitam, it is Mithya. It is experienced, but it can be negated by knowledge. So I use the knowledge which I get from the Veda, or hold on to that knowledge, and keep on saying, I am Satyam, I am Satyam. World is Mithya, world is false. It is possible. It helps us it helps me to understand my real nature as Nitya Mukta Swarupa. I am always free. When will you say this? Only when you identify yourself as this consciousness, which is changeless consciousness. Very, very difficult for us to remember this, because everything in the world is changing, but what is changeless is me, the consciousness, am always changeless. That fact we should never forget. That is the central portion of our teaching. Anybody else has a question? Do you want me to continue this debate more, or shall we? I mean, I can finish this within 1 or 2 weeks. But do you like this in detailed conversations which go on? Or if there are only 3-4 mantras left, I can finish the Prashna Upanishad. Anybody can come back to me on this? Okay. Manikandan the debate. Okay. All right. We'll keep asking this because I want some response, and it is generally difficult to understand these debates, but if you enjoy it, I don't mind. We have the notes in it. But anyway, anybody else has a question? Kannan, was my mic okay today? Was I audible, Kannan?
Yeah, yes, Shekharji. I think it was better today. It was clear.
Yeah, I changed my entire camera today.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better than the last few weeks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that, because without your knowledge, I wouldn't have changed my camera. I would have gone back. There was a problem with the camera, in the sound system, in the camera, in the mic system. Okay. All right. We will continue the same. I'll continue in the same pace. Next week, we'll continue this, the next verse. Again, we'll go for another 100, 200 slides. There are 3 volumes of this volume is volume number 5. Then there is volume number 6 and 7. There are 2 more volumes left after we finish this volume for this Prashna Upanishad. But nevertheless, if you enjoy it, I don't mind continuing. We'll do that. Okay, so we'll stop here and then we'll continue next week. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste, Shekharji. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.